Hello, good-looking people. It is I, Mark Major, and we are here at the studio called the Action Figuratorium. As you know, I'm a real big toy collector. I'm also a person who likes to do a marketing analysis breakdown of action figure Kickstarters. Look them over, make some recommendations, talk about what I think is working, what is not working, that kind of thing. And also weigh in on the toys. And in some cases, I actually become a backer. Who can say what's going to happen today? This is a look at a Kickstarter that I was going to do last week before it funded. And then all of a sudden, it hit its goal. So this is going to be even more exciting because there's some unlocks to show. This is Cyberzoic. It's essentially a blend of dinosaurs and tech in the 1/18th scale. That is a scale that I've been into for the past year, a lot with my ongoing World War II sort of Star Wars diesel punk crossover, and so this looks particularly interesting. I think this is going to be pretty groovy to take a look at. So catch you guys after the intro. All right, let's switch over to Kickstarter. Ah, look at this. Look at this high-tech show you guys are watching. All right, so here is the Cyberzoic sci-fi dinosaur and dragon action figures. They need to hit $205,000. They have passed that. They're at $249,049 as of the recording of this video, which is on a Sunday night. When this thing goes out Monday, who knows? Maybe it will have doubled. Don't know. Let's take a look at what they're selling here. Okay, it's called Cyberzoic, and it is by a company called Creative Beasts Studio, and we're going to be looking at their website because I think it's worth vetting the people who make the toys and check them out. These guys actually have some kind of high pedigrees as far as who they have worked for, sculpting. And it's basically a series of, what they're selling here is, for their rewards, is a series of dinosaurs, which you can buy separate, a kind of a saddle armor kit, weapons kit that goes on the dinosaur, which can be bought separate, and a rider, which can be bought separate. Now, I'd like to point out that you could buy just the dinosaur, you could buy just the rider, or for some reason maybe you want to buy just the saddle. Makes no difference to me, just saying this is what they're selling. So let's go through some of these sets that they have here. The first one is this Allosaurus, which is kind of like, to me, it's sort of like the new T-Rex, and it is $100. If you want the kit that goes on it, the saddle kit for the rider with the blasters, that's an extra $40. If you want the 1/18th scale pilot, who looks like he's in kind of some science fiction fantasy armor, then he is $25. Of course, there's a slight discount if you get all three, buy them as a bundle. The next one is this saber-toothed tiger, and this thing has 21 points of articulation, which makes it particularly interesting. They're also sort of billing this as possibly being 1/12 scale. It's really just kind of, the scale at this point really matters who the saber-tooth is standing next to. You know, like if you take a you know, like a 12-foot tall T-Rex and you put it next to a Hot Wheels car, well, then it's like a Godzilla giant. But if you put it next to a He-Man, then it's just a kind of a interesting, cool mount, that sort of thing. So they've got the saber-toothed tiger, $55. The kit for it is $25. The female here in the sort of green fantasy armor, she is $25, so same cost as the other guy. Then there is this. So there's two sort of dinosaurs with rider kits, and then they have this 31-inch long dragon, ice dragon, and I think we should take a look at all three of these guys, and then of course we're going to look at what has unlocked already. So let's go to their gallery. If you click on the image on Kickstarter, you'll see that it takes you to their website. So here we have the dinosaur with the full kit and the guy. You can see this. This looks pretty cool. I don't know if anybody out there remembers a toy line a long time ago called Dino Riders. This is kind of evoking that. Of course, it's a bit of an homage. And I think they're both sort of goofing and having fun, as well as they're a little serious, right? Because this is some pretty detailed stuff. Just going to click through some of these. I think you get the idea. You can visit all this on your own. I just want everyone watching to get an idea. Oh, look, there's a Mandalorian riding it. It's always good to shoehorn that in. There's just the dinosaur on its own. Nice paint job on it. Quite a bit of articulation. Like you can see how the tail is all segmented. All right, let's look at the Sabertooth and Rider. Look at that. That's pretty cool. You could sort of, if you took the gun off, it could be kind of an elf lady, you know. I think this all looks really good, don't you guys? This looks pretty. There's the kit that you can buy. It's 25 bucks for that. It's a pretty good deal if you look at all the different parts and the paint and everything. There she is with Scream Face on. I don't know why she needs Scream Face, but why not? And let's just take a look at the dragon. Let's look at this guy. This is pretty overwhelming. This is pretty cool. Sculpted feathers, you know, it's kind of lizard bird crossover. And there it is with some sort of clone trooper. I don't know who this action figure is. Some kind of Polar Frost Man, some sort of low-budget Mr. Freeze. There it is with some other famous figures. I think this is one of their creations, and I think this is this big, huge Gigantosaur that you can get from, is it Mattel for Jurassic Park? I think that's what it is. Here's some other creations. This is Jurassic Park. These are actually sculpts they did for Hasbro, I think it was. We'll check that out. So more shots of the dragon. Okay, so I would like to look a little bit at the company here. This is their website, Creative Beast Studio, and this is actually their shop. This is what they have for sale, and you can see that they make and sculpt all these sorts of different dinosaur creatures and beasts, etc. And there's quite a bit of them, and they come in quite a bit of variety of flavors, different sizes, different colors. You know, there's little guys, there's big guys, there's some that are pretty inexpensive, there's some that are really expensive. There's some 3-packs of guys here. This is all pretty overwhelming, to be honest with you. There's so much product on this page, it's kind of tough to sift through all of it, but I just want to let people see that the guys behind this Kickstarter have all these other dinosaur figures under their belt that they sell. And they're all sort of varieties of level of quality, of course. Now in their personal gallery, photo gallery, you can see that they've done some sculpting for NECA, Hasbro, and McFarlane. They've also done some design for NECA and McFarlane. So if we go and look and see what they did for NECA, they made this crazy weird woman and this sort of axe head Pacific Rim thing. And if we go and see what they did for Hasbro, they sculpted, let's give it a second. They sculpted this Triceratops looking thing for their Jurassic Park. So these guys work for some, they work for some other companies as well. They work for some big boys sculpting, in addition to having their own store with a lot of dinosaurs in it. And what I think we should do is, let's go back to the Kickstarter real quick. And let's look at some of these unlocks that we finally got here. You, of course, can get the two main characters, their Dinosaur and Sabertooth and Dragon, for a bundle price. They do sell that. I think that's a good idea. They have some sort of 11 by 17 signed art print. Sure, throw it in there. Why not? Not really the thing that grabs me, but you know, if you sell a couple and it pays for a phone bill or whatever, keep pumping them out. Okay, so here's what's unlocked. They've unlocked this smaller sort of feathered dinosaur with its armor kit, and it's got a cool exoskeleton, right? And then they've got a Fire Guard Trooper as the figure, but they haven't really got a like a painted one at this point. They just sort of have the, this is probably the 3D render in the computer, and they just sort of put it in this picture here. I don't think they've even printed one. This just shows that they were thinking ahead, but they probably didn't expect to maybe hit their goal quite so fast, that kind of thing. Here's another thing that unlocked set 5. They don't even have 3D render of it. They just have a drawing on like a napkin that somebody did. $115 for that. And then this is going to unlock soon, I think. It's just another dinosaur. It's one of these feathered ones, and comes with some armor kit and another guy. He's $25. You can see a picture of what that dude looks like. Pretty cool. Here's all the people that have worked on it. Now, one of the things I talk about is that it takes a team of quite a few people to bring these Kickstarters to market at this level. If you look at the team behind Savage Crucible, it was like 3 times the size of this, okay? So for me, I would think that this would be, you know, a couple of sculptors, a couple of painters, stuff like that. There's a lot of people working on this, right? So everyone's going to need to wet their beak. Whatever they were asking for, I guarantee it wasn't enough for all these people to really get paid. But I think this is the kind of thing that they want to not probably invest money in their own money into something wacky like this. Like they obviously got Dinosaurs down, but the whole dinosaur tech rider thing might be a bit of a gamble, and so it's maybe best to do this as a crowdfund. That's kind of what I'm guessing, is that this is maybe something that takes a little less risk, you could say, is if you decide to crowdfund it versus just opening it up for pre-orders. Okay, so I want to just give this the marketing analysis run through, and for that we're going to look and see what the 3 best practices are for Kickstarter. Now, I did an entire video on this where I looked at Savage Crucible, Almighty Legends, Biblical Adventures, and Odious 1/12 to get an idea of which were the best Kickstarters as far as like how quickly they funded and how much money they made over what their ask was, who had the biggest gross, that kind of thing. And the 3 things that I've sort of compiled and come up with for the best practice is that any Kickstarter is going to need 3 tiers of pricing for whatever they're offering. They need to have something cheap at the bottom of the pyramid, the standard. Then they need to have something that's deluxe in the middle, you know, for people who are willing to spend more money if they get more product for their money. And then you need to have some weird luxury item that really no one can afford, but the guy who can afford it will buy it. And if he will buy it, you might as well sell it. You'd be dumb not to. So then next you need to have the widest selection possible of options of things to buy. We just found that Kickstarters that had just more figures they offered sold more figures and made more money. Guys who only had 1 figure or 2 figures available didn't do as well as people who had, like, you know, complete waves and all these sets that would unlock. And last thing is that you really need to condense as much of your marketing pitch onto your Kickstarter page as possible, so that anyone who just goes to the page, doesn't know who you are, never heard of you before, never seen your YouTube channel, didn't know that you've worked for some big boys, didn't know what your pedigree is, doesn't know anything about it, is just looking at the product. You got to sell them on just what the product is. Whatever you can put in a video that you can embed there, whatever you can put in JPEGs that you can put on the page, everything's got to do all the selling right there. If they are super excited and they go trying to dig in later, that's great, but don't count on that to be the thing that's going to carry you. It will not. Okay, so let's go back to their Kickstarter then and see what they're offering. So this clearly comes in at the different levels. If you just want to buy an action figure for $25, you can. And they have a couple different ones. There's the dude, there's the you know, sort of elf chick. I'm calling her elf because she seems like she's kind of, you know, sort of on the side of nature, etc. And although there wasn't one for the dragon, they have actually unlocked, I believe, another figure. This guy, this Fire Guard Trooper. So they technically have a pretty okay selection of just things you could buy for 25 bucks. Now, are there anybody who's going to buy the armor kit that's not getting the dinosaur or the beast? Something tells me no. However, there might be a guy who's got some Jurassic Park dinosaurs and he's going to buy one of the kits and put it on it and figure out how to make it work. I don't think it's going to be a lot of people. I think it's going to be very few, and it's not going to be me. So I feel as if like the kit should probably automatically just come with the figure and make the figure more expensive. But I could see if you just want to break it out to where somebody says, hey, I don't want this 1/18 scale, 1/18 inch scale figure. I don't want this kit. I just want the saber-toothed tiger. And then let them just buy the saber-toothed tiger. What do you care? In fact, let them get two. So with that, they do have some different tiers, but also if you look at the whole package as a thing in itself, if you think the rider, the dinosaur, and the kit as just an item, you've got one for $155, you got one for $100, and we have one for $115. And if they get this other one out, it will be $77. So I'm going to say that what they should have done, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a mistake because they wanted to lead with the dude and the girl for the main thing and then everything, you know, establish that and everything else is kind of gravy. They should have had the cheaper one in here first. They should have had the $77 one, and they should have sort of said, hey, everybody, if you only buy one thing, spend 77 bucks on this. Get this thing, right? I would have done that, and then I would have done the this one for $155 and the saber-tooth for $100 as my middle. That's what I would have done for my entry, middle, and high. And of course, I would definitely have the dragon at $200. I think that's a great idea, and I think they're beating a lot of companies to the punch on making sort of really outrageous, well-articulated, sculpted, decorated dragons. I think we're going to start to see a couple companies pump these things out in the next couple years. So overall, I think these guys are definitely on track to make a lot of money with this. Let's see, where are they at? 249,000. When I looked at this last week, they hadn't cleared it. I was going to do a video on it, and I said, well, let's just wait. Maybe they'll clear it. Maybe we'll get some unlocks, and they did. And this is actually quite exciting to see these guys doing something that I feel is different than more military guys or more dudes to take on and fight Marvel Legends or that kind of stuff. I feel like we're just getting more variety with this. How do I feel about like the dinosaur aspect of it? Well, there are in fact lots of dinosaur toys made every year, and there's millions of them floating around the globe at any point. You can go into a Goodwill, you can go into a thrift store, you can go into a Salvation Army, and you can just find piles of these things. You can find piles of these things at people's garage sales, at yard sales, at estate sales. Every kid's got dinosaurs, has had dinosaurs forever, even before Jurassic Park, but since then, they are just everywhere. You can pretty much be assured that there's enough of them to where we could strap them to our shoes in the winter and use them for snowshoes in the deep snow at this point. So I feel as if spending $100 on a dinosaur personally is kind of a tough sell given just how many dinosaurs there are out there. In fact, I have a whole box of them. You can find a whole bunch of pics of these dinosaurs used outdoors in sort of jungle settings with Lara Croft and Indiana Jones on my Instagram, right? It's a lot of fun having that stuff. Some of them I didn't pay really any money for. Some of them were just gifted to me. So to see a $100 dinosaur, that's pretty tough. I gotta be honest. It's a pretty tough sell. I realize that it's a super cool action figure dinosaur with articulation made by just a fantastic, talented toy studio. And it's got a killer paint job, and if you take it all in with the package with the rider and the like the saddle with the guns and stuff, it's especially cool. But for me, personally, as a sort of, guy who likes to do his collecting really in the second hand, I find that to be a difficult purchase the first time around. However, I do think that the Sabertooth one is a particularly cool idea and a good buy, because you just don't see something like this. Like, there's a million dinosaurs, but there aren't a million of these. And so something like this guy with the rider and the saddle, I think that's unique. I think that's going somewhere. I think they're going to sell a lot of those. The smaller ones, especially if they get the one out for $77 for all three things. I think that, again, they should have opened with that one. I think that one's going to really boost their sales. So that's my assessment of this Kickstarter. I think they're off to a great start. I think they've got a great product. I think they've got pretty good pricing in the tiers, although, like I said, I'm a little bit, sort of gasping at paying $100 for a dinosaur these days. What can you do? But I love that they're going 1/18th scale. I think that's really kind of an underrated scale these days, that people are pretending is dead, or that people aren't doing anything with it. It's absolutely bonkers, people. It's a crazy scale. Once you get into this scale, you'd be surprised at just how much there is available with current stuff, things that will be coming out, and all the insane amount of toys that companies have made over in the past in this scale. It really can't be beat. So thanks for sticking around this long, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.